And it's time to do business here on Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broom. To our very first story, the Institute of Economic Affairs has accused the present and past governments of treating the various financial crises as temporal problems without any major and permanent macroeconomic and structural policy changes to transform the economy. Ghana returned to the International Monetary Fund this year after going through severe economic challenges last year. In an article led by senior fellow Professor Alexander Bilsendaku, the IEA said the country's post-crisis structural policy priorities have been temporal in nature, only to satisfy donors' conditionalities. There's more in this report.
The article, titled The 17 Steps to and Out of Financial Crises in Ghana, Lessons for the Future, revealed that various attempts by successive governments to transform the economy with reforms to improve agricultural productivity and promote industrialization have either been short-lived or not implemented fully or totally abandoned. These chaotic attempts, it pointed out, have left the economy still highly dependent on international financing from bilateral and multilateral institutions, as well as international credit market sources. For instance, the recent shift from bilateral and multilateral loans with concessional terms to international credit market funds with market terms presents further international financing challenges, such as debt service stress. Therefore, the IEA called for a broad-based national development program to increase the complexity of production and exports while providing employment to the pool of well-educated unemployed youth. These solutions, it added, must be homegrown and not a set of conditionality policies for bailout credit facilities like the various IMF World Bank programs.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says Ghana needs about $12.5 billion to build a climate-resilient economy. According to him, the cost of climate change to Ghana cannot be underestimated. Mr. Ofori-Atta gave a breakdown indicating that $4.21 billion needs to be generated at the national level and $8.29 billion from international sources. He spoke at the Global Shield Initiative and the Global Risk Modeling Alliance workshop here in Accra.
Global Risk Modeling Alliance is an initiative that aims to assess the country's risk and provide essential data for decision-making on solutions to manage climate risks and drive new adaptation investment. Global Shield, on the other hand, seeks to establish pre-arranged trigger-based financing mechanisms to ensure timely and effective responses to climate-related challenges. Speaking at the workshop, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta indicated how much Ghana needs for its climate adaptation project.
Africa has the last 2 decades lost over 200 billion due to climate change, and in Ghana alone we require some 4.2 billion at the national level and 8.29 billion from international sources to meet the cost of implementing adaptation actions according to NDCs. In order to build a climate-resilient economy and transition to a low-carbon development pathway, it is imperative that we make informed decisions based on reliable data at both the national and subnational levels in order to minimize the impact of climate change and enable development-positive climate action.
The Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Kweku Afriye, reiterated the need to invest in low-carbon transition and adaptation.
The science is clear. We need to pay close attention and then to the Council of Scientists, because failing to do so will only put the lives of our people in jeopardy. Evidence-based analysis and results should help us design people-centered new investments towards a low-carbon and adaptation transition. Or we should transition a low-carbon transition, let me put that way. And the adaptation we most urgently need to fortify our economies and then also to avoid the supply chains and communities against accelerating climate-fueled risk.
German Ambassador to Ghana, Daniel Crow, explained the purpose of the workshop.
The Global Shield aims at delivering fast and effective support to vulnerable countries and people in dealing with climate risk and related losses and damages. As a pathfinder country of Global Shield, Ghana will receive comprehensive support in understanding the risks they face and receiving financial and technical assistance to implement instruments of financial protections. These instruments provide quick and reliable funding when climate-related disasters occurs and therefore contribute to addressing climate-related losses and damages.
The Global Shield Initiative Against Climate Change and the Global Risk Modeling Alliance Workshop aligns with Ghana's Climate Prosperity Plan, which aims to provide immediate funds during disaster.
To agriculture now, and the National Food Buffer Stock Company is strategizing to increase financing for its operations as part of measures to stabilize food inflation. Deputy Chief Executive Officer Kofi Amankwa believes the inability to increase its purchases in the buffer season for storage contributes to the persistent rise in pricing. The company is already engaging the government and other international bodies for the purpose. Nanaya Ojima has more in this report.
In May this year, food inflation stood at 51.8%, 3 percentage points higher than April. The rise influenced the increase in year-on-year inflation. Deputy Chief Executive Officer Kofi Amankwa believes the company, with the right resources, can help stabilize food inflation.
In the lean markets, prices, naturally, the tendency is for prices to go up. Yes, so what we would obviously do is release onto the market as a price stabilization mechanism. Unfortunately, we've had some challenges with the resources. We need to be able to have the resources to be able to buy in the harvests and seasons and store. Unfortunately, like I said, it's been quite a challenge.
By terms of establishment, the National Food Buffer Stock Company aims at stabilizing food pricing. It is mandated to buy food from farm gates in bumper harvest for storage and subsequent sale. The company is already exploring strategic partnership for the purpose.
Aside the technical support that we're receiving, we also be looking at government to give us more resources, and also the international organizations to also help us so that we have the resources to be able to buy and store, so that this price stabilization mechanism can be effective.
Meanwhile, under the sponsorship of the World Food Programme, technical staff of the company are being trained in the field. Ashanti Region Director of Food and Agriculture, John Menu, wants the company to tap into the anticipated gains of the second phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs program.
The PFJ 2.0 is not only targeting small-scale farmers, but big-time farmers, commercial farmers are also involved. So it means we are going to experience higher volumes of our produce, especially maize and rice. And we are saying that in that direction, NAFCO should position itself so that at the end of the day, they take advantage of the sub-regional market and be a conduit that can transport or export.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ochima reporting.
Now, members of the National Food Suppliers Association have been demanding government pays 273 million cedi debt accrued since 2020. Members have spent another night at the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, resolving never to leave until they are paid. Here's James Afeji's report.
A look at the time now. It's just a minute to 10 o'clock here at Cantonment, the premises of the Food Buffer Stock Company. As you can hear from the background, there are the singing of suppliers of food to the Buffer Stock Company, especially towards the free senior high school feeding program. They have been pitching camp here since Tuesday. They actually made a sleepover from Tuesday to Wednesday today, and the plan is to make another sleepover this Wednesday night to Thursday morning. Their call is that government owes them to the tune of some 270 million Ghana cedis in arrears for supplies they have made to the company between the period of 2021 and 2023 as we speak. Government is unable to clear those debts, and so to press home their issue, they have decided to pitch camp here until the last penny the government owes them is paid. What we know is that earlier today, Wednesday, 3 persons fell ill from spending their night here and have been rushed to the Cocoa Clinic. We'll be getting an update on that and more on this kind of picketing strategy they have adopted in order to get their money from government. So let's get inside now and have some interactions with them to know what their plans are towards tomorrow, Thursday. This is one of the people pitching camp here. Let's get to know him and get to know his personal story on why he is here. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Alaji Zakaria.
Which I'm told you are coming from different parts of the country. Which part of the country are you coming from?
Yes, I'm coming from BA.
The Brong-Ahafo region.
Yes.
Okay. What are the challenges?
The delay in payment. The delay in payment. The payment is not coming. We supply maize since last year. They are not paying us.
Paint a picture to us about your work. How often do you supply food to government? I'm sure you supply to the senior high schools.
Yes, please.
Okay. How often do you give them stock, and how is the payment schedule like?
Oh, it's upon demand. Beginning of the semester, then we supply to the schools. Then on our contract, they're supposed to pay us 90 days. Initially it was 60 days, came to 90. Then we were moving. At the time they were saying we even go up to 6 months before the payment start coming.
On one delivery, what's the worth of goods you deliver to the schools?
Oh, Brong-Ahafo like this, if you have to supply about almost 10,000 bags of maize has to go through the schools.
For the whole region?
For the whole region. All the 3 Bono region, we supply them with maize.
And that 10,000 bags of maize will be worth how much?
Oh, let's do some calculation here, because at the time we were supplying, a bag of maize was around 170, 150, depending on the. Then we just multiply the amount by the number of bags we supply at a go.
One police yaba, here police station. Be corner chesa one more ajo money ma. Me corner me be fie anyway so de me ko. Ano den pa. Enye easy my. Nti ese na kufu ado. E pa na cho. Ohun ye mobo. Ye single parent. To me my numasa. Enkure gumi so na enya asam ketoa. Na ye den ma hwe nkura no. Kakra ya na me ye nkakra sa. Ma ho odi nyina be wura ase. Ti me sira no. Nyame amfa fie kura me dan kura no. Ye den hye beto so me aton da na. Ti me sira no. Na da ruma oti ye nka. Momode a no ntue ye ka. Na ye ntimi nkwada ye kete so. Na nsam no anode. Na de e ka ho so kura no se. De me ka ma na do wati pa se. De ye mpanimfo no a odo no o ma tututu adwumakuo na no. Dan nyina on fa kire. Me hu ne se president no kuta adwen papa na emom ne mpanimfo na di achi no. Onhwe pa obesisem a onsisem na niema ekoso no enkoye ba kokora. Se bia we ni we bi wo issues bia na je se wo kwada we sise obi a ma afie omo ewo ya adwuma ne nipa omo ntem enkutade niema kitinkiti bia ekoso nti na masa ade we nyina ekoso nti esere nana ne mpanimfo no onfene ne ntofom na de twase obesesa wo monsesa wo.
Now, the International Finance Corporation has signed a 4-year agreement with the Bank of Ghana to build the capacity of financial sector players in sustainable banking through the implementation of the integrated environmental social governance principles. The program will help banks implement Ghana's sustainable banking principles. Speaking to Joy Business at the signing ceremony, Senior Country Manager of the IFS, Carl Kilhofer, said the partnership will provide players in the financial sector the tools to better address and assess risk while improving sustainability in long-term performance.
Through the integrated environmental social governance principles for Ghana, the International Finance Corporation and the Bank of Ghana have signed a 4-year capacity training for players in the financial sector to help the country's banks implement Ghana's sustainable banking principles and incorporate them across the operations. These 7 principles, launched in 2019, were designed to help financial institutions respond to risks, increase transparency, and promote sustainability. Speaking to Joy Business at the signing ceremony, Senior Country Manager of IFC, Carl Kilhofer, said the training will support and develop the country's financial sector.
Banks will incorporate this, implement and become core principles of how they operate to make them more sustainable, and just will enable Ghana to have just a stronger, more resilient, more sustainable recovery and a bigger banking system going forward for the benefit of the people of Ghana.
On his part, Head of Banking Supervision at the Bank of Ghana, Osei Jisi, said this agreement will go a long way to complement efforts of the regulator in ensuring a resilient and sound financial sector.
This is going to have a cascading effect on the how ESG issues are handled across the industry. So it's going to be a win-win approach in the sense that the regulator is going to benefit, and the spillover effect on the institutions that we supervise, to the extent that we'll be able to give guidance to these institutions so that they also improve upon whatever ESG framework they have in place.
Donor for the training program, Swiss Economic Corporation and Development Ghana, said it is committing $1.5 million to ensure financial sector players are trained on environmental, social, and governance principles. Dr. Simone Hebeli is the Deputy Head of Mission of Switzerland.
Our way of cooperation is that we finance the IFC to be able to assist the relevant stakeholders to improve their capacity. So this is how it's usually done. The reason why we think this is important is, and I think you have heard this from the representatives of the Bank of Ghana, is that businesses who respect green principles, better standards in terms of governance, social and environmental, are more viable businesses. So in this very specific project on ESG, integrated ESG, it's $1.5 million. And that's grant money, that's a gift.
To some more stories now, and sales executive of Green Opal Properties, Collins Carriage-Beda, has indicated that customers stand to enjoy a 1 to 5 year payment plan when they purchase their buildings. Green Opal Properties will be part of this year's Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair. According to Mr. Beda, houses built by Green Opal Properties are affordable and uniquely spaced.
Approaching our space at the fair is the best thing you could do for yourself, because you dream it, we build it. And that is the most unique thing about us. We give you unique homes. So approaching us, you are getting quality of materials for your building. You are getting quality items within your building. Bathroom, from kitchen, and wardrobes. The highlight areas for us for this fair will be for Adenta Aviation, where we are currently even doing a payment plan, kind of a promo thing, a payment plan for clients who are not able to afford within a period of a year or a year and a half. So we are doing that 1 to 5 year payment plan where they will pay 50% and then spread the balance 50% between 1 to 5 years. Yes, either monthly payments or quarterly payments, we subscribe to that as well.
Now, Anglo Gold Ashanti is investing in the promotion of sickle cell prevention education in rural areas as part of its healthcare interventions Residents of Boite in the Obuasi East District of Ashanti region are the latest to benefit from AGA's mini clinic aimed at promoting frequent health screening. There's more in this report.
About 2% of babies born yearly in Ghana have sickle cell disease. According to Dr. Enoch Ado-Sarkodie, a pediatrician at AGA Children's Hospital, residents in rural areas need to be educated on the disease to prevent increasing cases. He was speaking at a health outreach by Anglo God Ashanti in the Boite community at Obuasi, where residents were educated on the preventive measures of sickle cell.
I run a clinic at AGA Hospital. Currently, I see over close to 100 patients every month who come for their monthly medication treatment. And it's representative of the larger population. I started a clinic about 2 years ago with just 16 patients, and now in 2 years I have over close to 100 patients who are regular attendants of the clinic. And it should tell you that we have more people in the community with a disease that we need to look out for. We need to screen and then diagnose and then proper treatments. One of the ways we can prevent sickle cell disease is that people who have thought about having babies, who have thought about marriage, should screen and know their genotype. So if you are going to marry, you know your genotype and you know the genotype of your partner.
Myths about sickle cell disease persist globally, leading to negative attitudes towards patients. As a result, many people with sickle cell conceal their diagnosis and are reluctant to seek medical care and treatment. Head of Occupational Health at AGA Health Foundation, Dr. Justin Dakora, wants Ghanaians to stop stigmatizing people with sickle cell.
We seriously want to reduce the message on, we want to reduce the attachment or stigmatization of persons who have sickle cell disease. That's number one. And then to know that it's genetic and it's of no one's fault. So as a Ghanaian, the message we want to put across is that do screen, make it one of the things you check out for when you are going into your relationships, your partnerships. Not to say that don't go close to or don't be friends with. It has nothing to do with being airborne, cannot be transferred. It's everything genetic. And there is enough support.
Anita Sewa Ajogan reporting.
Now, players within the IT space are calling for adequate investment in research in the space. This, they say, would unlock the potentials of technology. According to Northern Region Branch Manager for Techno Ghana, Eric Chumesi Mensah, taking such steps would yield more opportunities by creating new industries and jobs, as well as provide a cleaner and more sustainable future for all. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of Techno Ghana Phantom V Fold.
I think, yes, we are ready for 5G because we still have most phones on the market that has the 5G, even though our telcos haven't yet brought 5G on the market. So I think we are preparing ourselves and we are much ready for the 5G on the market. I think the public needs to also to be educated on the 5G because sometimes when you talk about 5G, people don't even know 5G, even though we've brought 5G phones on the market, which the telcos haven't brought that on the market yet. People don't know what even the 5G is all about. So I think it's about education, psyching the minds of the people that, hey, from 4G we are moving to 5G. 5G is the best when it comes to internet speed and all that.
And that's how we wrap up business tonight. For more business news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broom. Next is sports with Razak Musbah.